Nerdtopia, yo, and we got a freaking podcast. Cruising in the speeder, bullseye, and flipping womp rats. Comics, video games, movies, real life superheroes is what you can expect if you're wired to be weirdo. So we welcome all the newbies and the groupies, flashing boobies in the movies without cooties. In the show, it's got you drooling with this comedy, no fooling. Now presenting you your host is Steven Doolin. Word, NerdtopiaCast.com, Facebook.com/NerdtopiaCast, also YouTube and podcast 38 seconds.
Hey, what's happening, Nerdtopia? This is Doolin Dalton, and welcome to NerdtopiaCast. We are about to get down and nerdy, just as we do every week. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listened to the show last week, which concluded our coverage of DragonCon 2012, actually, you know, if you didn't listen to it, please go back and listen to both parts of that, parts 1 and 2. We had a great time down there in Atlanta at DragonCon. We had some great guests on the show, and just kind of regaled everybody with our tales down there. But if you listen to that show, you will know that my normal co-host Steve is going to be out for a while. He's away being a father. His wife is less than a month away from them having their third child. In addition to that, she's going back to school, and he is being full-time dad and full-time breadwinner. So he just does not really have the time to devote to NerdtopiaCast right now. He will come back, but as of right now, I'm going to have some revolving co-hosts. I actually tried a day or two ago to have somebody live in the same room with me. It's kind of scarce depending on who I can get that week. And I actually brought in one of my fellow actors from my job. As I've stated before, I work as a performer at a theme park. And unfortunately, the chemistry just wasn't there, and our episode kind of fell shy of where we needed it to be. So what I've done today is I've reached into the barrel, not anywhere near the bottom of the barrel, mind you. Nowhere near the bottom of the barrel. My co-host today is going to be not only is this guy one of my friends from the high school years, from more particularly the drama club years, which were the years where everything mattered, and the drama club was aptly named because it was it did have a lot of drama mixed into it, both on and off the stage. But not only was he one of my friends in high school, he's one of my friends today, and he is also a writer for NerdtopiaCast.com, our website. And in addition to that, he is the very talented co-host of our brand new spin-off podcast, Filmtopiacast 3000. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Greg McIver. Thank you for joining us today, Greg.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I am very, very happy to be here on this episode of NerdtopiaCast.
Hey, man, you're welcome, and we're happy to have you here. Greg's show is weekly now, every Wednesday. So, as we here at NerdtopiaCast do a very broad spectrum of topics, his is a little bit more niche oriented. So you focus just on the films over there at Filmtopiacast, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Just concentrating on, films that are currently in theaters, films that are going to be coming out that, we're hearing things about online, like casting things. Oh, they've gotten this person to play this iconic character, and you know how we feel about that, myself and my co-host, Nikki Boom Boom, that is.
Yeah.
It basically just focusing on the film aspects of it.
Let me ask you this real quick before we jump into things. Your co-host, Nikki Boom Boom. That's an interesting stage name that he's chosen. Why Nikki Boom Boom? I have to know.
Okay, well, Nick and I met at college, at Rollins College in Orlando, Florida, and Nick's real name is an Italian name, and at one point during his freshman year in the theater department, and they were just sort of like, hey, it's Nick, he's Italian, he's Nicky Boom, and just sort of stuck from then on out. So yeah, he's a Nicky Boom Boom.
I get it. Isn't it? Hey, this guy, Nicky Boom Boom over here. It's good. It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I also want to go ahead and apologize to our listeners. I know, like a while back, Steve and I said we were going to stop doing Skype shows. Greg and I, obviously, Greg lives up in New York City. I'm down here in North Carolina, so I'm sorry, I'm not flying him out to do the podcast, folks. It's just not going to happen. But what you guys are probably going to hear throughout the podcast are some little glitches in audio like the ones you just heard. I will do my best to fix them in post-production, but there's probably still going to be a few of them there. It happens. The podcast is free, guys. No hate mail.
Be kind.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, we're going to go ahead and I want to throw some announcements in there real quick. Some things that you can expect to see from us down there at NerdtopiaCast in the next month or so. Heads up, real quick, guys. Keep your eyes open. One of our writers, Chris Hall, is going to be bringing you something. I'm not going to say what, because it has not yet been unveiled, but I wanted to get you guys a little excited about it. This is, it's kind of funny, man. When the ball starts rolling, it starts rolling all at once. You know, Steve and I have been doing this podcast for about 5 months now, and then Greg stepped in just a few short weeks ago and started in with Filmtopiacast 3000, and now we're going to be having something else, and I can't tell you what it is yet, but it is something to be very excited about. You can certainly look forward to it if you're a horror fan. We're still going to have the daily articles. We've got a talented staff of writers at the site, Greg here included, and you can come back to NerdtopiaCast literally every day and find something new there. So if you haven't done it yet, man, check us out on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. There's more free content coming, and make sure you tell your friends.
Absolutely. Lots of cool stuff out there and more to come, just like he said.
You got it, man. And I also want to throw this out there for you, for all you guys listening at home. NerdtopiaCast. I have approached the folks at MegaCon in Orlando, Florida. Greg, and you used to live out there. I know you attended college out there in Orlando. Did you ever go to MegaCon?
I didn't know. I think Nikki Boom Boom has been a time or two, but I never managed to make my way out there. It is one of the things that I regret. But I used to live in Orlando. I just never made it there, unfortunately. But Nikki Boom Boom, I think, is an old hand at things like that.
Well, here's the scoop on that, man. For my second and final announcement I'll make today before we jump in, I have contacted the people at MegaCon about NerdtopiaCast performing a live podcast there, which would be a first for us. It might not be by the time we get there. We may have already done one elsewhere at that point. But I've contacted the fine folks at MegaCon about NerdtopiaCast performing live at MegaCon in March 2013 in Orlando, Florida. If you guys are going to be heading into MegaCon, or even if you know someone who is a fan of this show, you guys want to see us out there, please write into info@megaconvention.com and tell them we want NerdtopiaCast, because we are being considered for that right now.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Please do what he says. Do what he says. We want to get this live show up off the ground. That would be so awesome.
He's got a gun! I don't have a gun that you know.
Thank God. Well, I'm safe.
You're like 700 miles away. I don't know what I do anyways.
Bullet just races out of my computer monitor.
Yeah, right. It's like, hey, Greg, click this link. You have an infected file. Your computer's no.
You've got Bullet.
Yeah, that's a new virus. It's a new virus that's going around on the internet. Download this, and then a freaking hand with a handgun comes out of your monitor and just shoots you in the face. I don't think we're living in that age yet. Oh, man, that's fun times. Well, all right.
Absolutely.
Before we jump into the weekly geeklies, when we get into the meat of the show, I have an email that I'm going to read. As you guys, if you've been listening to the show, we've only had one other fan email that I've read on the show, but we do get them on a rare occasion, and when we get them, I do like to read them. This week's email comes from Grace. She can give her last name, that's fine. It simply says, Doolin. My name is Grace, and I am a 25-year-old woman who works full-time and is a full-time mother of two to boot. I'm juggling a lot of things while my husband is deployed overseas, and I don't get to hear from him as much as I would like. It can be very stressful at times. Well, I imagine so. I listen to a number of podcasts, but you and Steve never cease to make me laugh with your antics. It takes the edge off of my day at times. Tell Steve to enjoy his time off, but don't stay gone too long. As long as you guys keep the free nerdy funny coming, I'll keep nerding out with you. Thanks for the smiles, Grace. P.S. More Bill Shakespeare joints.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Grace. Yeah, that's not meant for me, but, that's so sweet. I'm glad she likes the show.
No, it is good, man. You'll start, as you do FilmtopiaCast more and more. Like I said, we've been at it for about 5 months. That's only the second fan mail we got. As you guys do FilmtopiaCast more and more, man, you're going to get those emails too. Just hang in there. And whenever you get something like that, Greg, it's a real affirmation that, what you're doing is the right thing.
No, absolutely. That sounds fantastic. Even if one person out there, is affected or entertained in some, way, I mean, that's, we're doing a good thing. So that's awesome. Again, thank you, Grace. And obviously you guys are doing a fantastic job with your show. I know you are. I listen.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, and she also said more Bill Shakespeare joints. Well, Grace, for the email for you, obviously, I don't have Steve here with me today, but I do have Greg, and, myself and Greg have shared the stage many times before.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Injun Joe to my Tom Sawyer, the good old days.
No, I know, I got you one. Yeah, you were Tom Sawyer in The Legend of Tom Sawyer, and I was the villain. I was Injun Joe in that. And then, it seemed like you and I had this dynamic where we were always kind of paired up as the hero, you the hero and me the villain, because you were also Ichabod Crane to my Brom Bones in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Absolutely, yes. I was a very poorly casted Ichabod Crane because in my younger years I was very short and heavy set, and Ichabod Crane's very tall and thin. But
you were as a kid you were kind of short and plump, and for that theater that you and I did shows at together when we were kids. I don't know, first of all, the director he was the director of both of those shows, and I won't mention his name here because
yes.
I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but he was this guy was a raging douchebag for one. I would look at him and say, why the hell are you working at a children's theater, man? You obviously don't like kids. He was very much the quintessential failed actor who was never able to get his shit together as an actor, and he was stuck working at a children's theater. And there's nothing wrong with working at a children's theater. Be happy about that, but he obviously wasn't. So he paired us up, and I don't know if it was his brilliant idea to reverse cast Ichabod Crane to have a short, plump Ichabod Crane. But anyways, what I'm getting at, excuse me, what I'm getting at with that, in that whole story that really didn't have much of an end other than the fact that the guy that worked at the children's theater at the time was an ass and not a very good actor, or a good director for that matter, is Greg and I have shared the stage many times before, and we're gonna brush up our Shakespeare here for you at the end of the show today to pull out a Bill Shakespeare joint just for you, Grace. I wasn't gonna, but you wrote in, you asked for it. I'll give it to you. We'll give you a little taste. For those of you who don't listen to the show regularly, Steve and I had a bit that we would do on the show, and we don't do it every episode. We try to, because it would get old after a while. But Bill Shakespeare Joints is a little segment that we like to do where we, as Steve put it one episode, is we take the bard and we add some retard.
I don't. That seems like a little harsh, but I don't know. No, it's all in good fun. It's fantastic. I love the Bill Shakespeare joints.
Yeah, and some of you guys know the premise of it is we take the show, or we take a movie that is well known by pop culture. We're not going to give you some obscure fucking Italian film that you never heard of. We're not giving you hipster movies here. It's a very mainstream movie, something that is very popular in culture and cinema, and we take it and we reword it as if William Shakespeare wrote that particular scene. So what you're going to have today is Greg and I at the end of the show will perform a comedy, a very well known comedy. I think. Greg, were you a fan of that movie, the one that I sent you, the one that we'll be doing today?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's actually been a little bit since I've seen it, but I definitely enjoy it. It never fails to make me chuckle anytime I see it.
Well, I tell you, I found it on Netflix the other night, and then I was watching it, and I'm like, nope, that's going to be the next Bill Shakespeare joint.
Nice. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've got good memories of that. Absolutely. And again, I love the Bill Shakespeare joints. As a movie, fan, I love to figure out, what the real movie is behind it, whether it be Pulp Fiction or something else. So yeah, these are a lot of fun. So I'm very honored to be a part of one.
Once again, man, honored to share the stage with you in a manner of speaking one more time. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the Weekly Geeklies. We got some news here, man, and this week it's a couple of these are going to be right up your alley because, where you guys focus on film, we kind of dabble in it a little bit. First up is going to be a little bit of a piece of news for a little geeky piece of cinema called Star Trek II.
Ah, yes, absolutely.
Did you enjoy the 2009 Star Trek, Greg? What'd you think of that?
I loved it. I thought J.J. Abrams did a fantastic job. I mean, growing up as a Trekkie myself, because I have an older brother, and I had to watch what he watched, yes, I grew up watching Star Trek, and I was very hesitant going in, because, it's a reboot, and I'm always hesitant when it comes to those, but I thought J.J. Abrams did a fantastic job. He kept the spirit of it. At the same time, he kind of gave audiences that aren't aware of Star Trek what they wanted by, kind of ramping up the action and such and the stylization of it. But again, it was still Kirk, it was still Spock, it was still Bones, so it was still Star Trek, but just for, another generation. So yeah, I like that movie a lot. I thought he did a fantastic job.
I agree, man, completely. And a couple of points about the 2009 Star Trek movie. First of all, if you did not, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, if you did not shed a tear in that opening scene, you have no soul.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I saw that movie in the theater twice, and both times I rolled a tear where you have... who is Thor is Captain Kirk's dad? Who is it? George Kirk?
Yeah, it's George Kirk. Yeah, played by good old Thor there. That's why the scene is, I think, very poignant because not only is it the birth of Kirk, it's also the birth of Thor because that's how he ended up getting the role in Thor. So, yeah. George Kirk, played by Thor.
Yeah. So the scene where he knows he's only got seconds left to live, and he's telling his wife, "I love you. What is her son's name?" And they're playing the big instrumental swell, and you see the ship is blowing up, man. I fucking rolled a tear on that. So that's the one point. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was after I saw that, and then they rolled opening credit, I'm like, that's the starting point. Holy shit, man! I am in. I am in this movie.
That's what great movies are all about right there. The spectacle, but, with some, good emotion attached to it. No, it was fantastic. I mean, again, what a friggin' prologue. I mean, you don't get much better than that. So, no, absolutely. So I'm looking very forward to the sequel, Star Trek II, which I'll let you kind of jump off there with that. But, yeah, 2009 Star Trek, A-okay in my book.
Absolutely, man. And, for Star Trek II, and one other point I wanted to bring up, something I liked that Abrams did, because I know that there was some guff amongst the Trekkies about them not honoring the continuity of Star Trek with the reboot, but they absolutely did. He totally honored the original continuity. He made it so that it was an alternate timeline. So not only did he create a very well done reboot, but he also honored everything that came before. If you look at it, all those things that happened in the original Star Trek series, they still happen. This is an alternate timeline. So I think that was very respectful for him to take it and say, I'm still going to honor everything that happened. So much so that he took Leonard Nimoy as Spock out of that timeline and put him into this one, which I thought was just absolutely amazing. So if you are a true Trekkie fan, there was really no reason for you to bitch about the new timeline, or the new continuity, if you will.
I absolutely agree. It's exactly like you said. And my brother, he's the guy that got into Star Trek, and he's a much bigger Trekkie than I'll ever be. But when I asked him, what did you think of the movie, he pretty much said the exact same thing. It was fantastic. They did some new things, but they still honored the stuff that came before, and it didn't get ruined. And so, yeah, I heard people kind of complain similarly about, no honor. But I don't know where that's coming from. They must not have been paying attention. So, good on him. It shows that he definitely respected the source material.
Absolutely, man. Well, okay, without me going on about, without me continuing to sit here and suck on J.J. Abrams, if you will.
Well, what else are we going to do? It's I don't know. It's not that nice out where you're at, is it?
No, but no, seriously though, man, Star Trek II has a new confirmed title, which is Star Trek II, The Empire Strikes Back.
Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, damn it, it's my show, Greg, get off! Just get the fuck off right now!
I'm sorry.
No, okay, but you did apparently, well, of course you read this, man. You have your own podcast about movies. But no, Star Trek II is indeed called Into Darkness, which asks the question, Greg, do you think they're going to go a darker route with this movie? I mean, I have no idea.
That seems to be what every Hollywood sequel for any franchise, for the most part, tries to do or announces that it's going to do, that it's going to be darker and grittier. I'm not quite sure who we have to thank for this whole trend. I think it was the Harry Potter series that actually kind of started it, because...
Actually, let me jump in on top of you here. Sorry to interrupt you, but... actually, I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I think that all kind of stemmed back from the original Star Trek movies, which would be Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Anytime you see where a movie has the origin point and then part 2 goes darker with it, I think that happened originally in The Wrath of Khan, so it would be really fitting that you would do that here in Star Trek 2.
No, that is very true. That's a very valid point. If you're talking about, first movie and then just the sequel going in the darker route, that's absolutely correct. I would agree fully. I was thinking more along terms of like a series and then each one progressively getting darker. I guess that's where I was coming from. But no, absolutely, yes. Star Trek the Motion Picture, the original, very long, flashy, beautiful ballet of a movie, and then Star Trek II was the nitty-gritty of blood and explosions and the death.
Absolutely, man. I agree. So Star Trek II Into Darkness, I do believe that's coming out next year. I forgot to write down the release date on that. Do you happen to know that?
I don't actually have it in front of me either, but it is right around the corner. We should be seeing a trailer for it pretty darn soon. Little pictures of it here and there are popping up online, so it's going to be here before we know it, absolutely.
You got it, man. And some of the movies that have even gone darker, I didn't think it was possible to go darker from, from Batman Begins to Dark Knight, and yet Nolan managed to do that, which I thought was pretty incredible.
Absolutely. The Dark Knight is, you have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, the Batman Begins, which I absolutely love, it was definitely a dark movie. And then, the Dark Knight came along and just upped the ante by really, just saying there were no rules and, anybody could die at that point. And so just, the loss of, and just the utter, transformation from good into just awfulness, Nolan took it a step further, and it didn't seem like it was going to be possible. And again, that's just the character of the Joker. His influence is wide-reaching, and just that evil that leaks off of him. Dark Knight was just definitely, it was a difficult task, but Nolan pulled it off.
I agree, man. And, Christian Bale's performance in that was amazing. And the reason I bring that up is because I wanted to give props to Christian Bale for doing something amazing last week. Did you hear about this?
I vaguely heard something about this. Didn't he visit somebody? I think he made sort of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation or something? Correct me if I'm wrong.
He didn't just visit somebody, man. He went the full mile on this, which I thought was amazing. Like, as you know, remember, after the Aurora shootings, Christian Bale went out to Aurora to pay his respects to the victims, and not only that, but visit those who were hospitalized, which I thought was just absolutely amazing.
Of course.
Yeah, but he went a step further than that, man. There was a child, I don't know if they gave away his last name, but his name was Jaden. He was a little boy who had been diagnosed with leukemia, and the doctors had given him only a few months to live, which, is tragic in and of itself. But this kid lived and breathed Batman, everything Batman, absolutely loved Batman. His lifelong dream was to meet Batman. So the friends and family of this little boy got the word out on Facebook in an attempt to reach out to Christian Bale. So it finally got big enough, word got out to Christian Bale, and he didn't go to visit this kid, man. He flew Jaden and his entire family out to Los Angeles and took them to Disneyland, and then took them out to dinner.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That's pretty fantastic of him. I mean, talk about a dream coming true.
Yeah, well, no kidding, man. And then and the kid idolized Batman so much, and Christian Bale in my book, like, that steps up to superhero status where I'm concerned.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he didn't need to do that. I mean, or he could have just, made a phone call or, even done a video chat. But to go those extra couple of miles, that's good form right there. Good on you, Christian. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because the kid idolized Batman so much he wanted to be like Batman. So Christian Bale, after that, killed his parents.
Oh, Christian, you and your method acting. As long as it brought a smile.
Actually, you know what, man? The story gets sweeter, and I'm not joking here, because doctors have announced that Jaden has beaten the odds, and his cancer is now in remission.
Oh my God, that's fantastic! That's great to hear.
Yeah, and so Christian Bale went on record and stated, "Where's the leukemia?" He's not happy. He wasted his time.
Oh, Jesus. He's never going to live that voice now. Poor guy. Oh, yeah, all the way to the back. Poor guy.
No, actually, he didn't say that. He when he found out that he was going to be cancer-free, he said, "Oh, good for you! Fucking good for you! Oh, I don't have leukemia anymore!"
He's never gonna live that one down, too.
No. Well, you know what though, man? Like, I'm picking on him, but I personally think that at this point he kind of gets a pass for that one bad day he had on the set of Terminator, man.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, to do something like that for a kid, that's just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm willing to give that one a pass as well. Let's let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, I think at this point he's bitched at one dude, and he's absolutely, he's made this dying kid's dream come true. Even though he's not dying, I want to see the papers that said he had leukemia in the first place, personally. But that's fine. We don't need to we don't need to hash that out.
We'll consider the investigation at a later.
Yeah, it's still under investigation.
For now, yeah, fair enough.
All right, man, and here's a little something that comes, this is from our backyard, man. This a little news story that is somewhat related to the Aurora shooting, if you will, and this comes from Melbourne, Florida.
Really?
Yeah, this is coming from our backyard, man, because as you know, you and I are from Vero Beach, Florida, which is in Indian River County. The next city north of that was Melbourne, which is Brevard County. So, I mean, they're right next to each other, so this was like a 30-minute drive from our backyard.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right next door.
Yeah, so September 6th, so it's about 10, 11 days ago, in Melbourne, Florida, a 21-year-old man was arrested in a movie theater after he appeared at a matinee showing of Expendables 2 in what authorities described as Joker-styled makeup. Here we go again. Identified as Christopher Sides, the man was wearing a black leather jacket, black jeans and black jeans and boots. Okay, well, first of all, Christopher Sides, we're from South Florida, and in September in South Florida, you don't wear a fucking black leather jacket. Not in September.
No, like, not by any stretch.
You'd be lucky down there in South Florida if you can break out the jacket for 2 weeks out of the year, and it ain't in September, I'll tell you that much.
Not at all.
First of all, I'm thinking right off the bat, you're a tool because you're wearing a black leather jacket in South Florida in September. So right off the bat, you're a tool, okay? So a patron saw him and contacted the manager, who phoned the Brevard County Police Department, and when they questioned him, he was actually arrested for an unrelated failure to appear in court. He had no weapons, but when the law enforcement agents were talking to him, he told them that he was the Joker. And I imagine that was kind of a situation where he was just kind of being a smartass. But if you see his picture, the picture of his mugshot, he actually had, he looks nothing like the Joker. Like, he's got black mascara streaks running down his face and pink hair. So
what?
Yeah, right. So here's my problem. This is where the nerd in me kicks in. What the fuck is with the people calling themselves the Joker with pink or red hair? Like, don't do the character a disservice. I mean, obviously, don't shoot people, but don't call yourself a Joker. If I went to Dragon Con last month dressed like that, telling everybody I was the Joker, I'd get my ass kicked, dude.
Absolutely, that's foolish. I don't know what's going through these people's minds. It's like, oh, these are colorful characters. I'll just splash a little color on my face. I mean, this guy in Melbourne sounds more like the Crow than anything else, not the friggin' Joker.
He did actually look a little bit more like the Crow.
Well, I'm Eric Draven. No, it's I don't know what's getting into some people. I just watch the friggin' movie. Again, don't take any violent things away from it. But I'm just saying, if you want to dress as the Joker for good reasons or geeky reasons or pure reasons, watch a friggin' movie or read a comic. Don't just think orange hair and then walk out the door. Be smart, people.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the Crow thing, that's a whole nother, the remake of that's a whole nother thing with the remakes that pisses me off. We won't even go into that right now, but I'm gonna say this, and I've said it on my Facebook page several times before. I sincerely hope that Brandon Lee becomes the real life Crow to come back to avenge whatever the hell it is. Isn't it Bradley Cooper playing the Crow this time around?
That's who they wanted. I believe that fell through. He's not going to end up doing it, which I'm very glad Cooper, but that's not him. So I don't know what I think right now is in pre-production hell. Like I think they're having a hard time getting it off the ground. So I think we're safe now, but who knows how long that's going to last.
All right. Well, we're safe from that for now, and we're safe from Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for now.
Yeah, it just leaves both of us speechless.
Well, speaking of Michael Bay, Transformers 4 is scheduled to be released June 27th of 2014. So Transformers 3, while not necessarily a critical success, it was certainly a box office success. It was your quintessential summer popcorn movie. But it didn't do well where the movie mattered to them, which was selling toys.
That movie... Those movies in general are three of my most hated movies of all time. We could do 2 whole shows on why I hate those movies so much. So I'm sorry it didn't sell a lot of plastic figurines. It still made a shit ton of money at the box office. It made more money than this podcast is going to make. It made more money than the wonderful Woody Allen movie Midnight in Paris that came out around the same time. It's just, I'm so happy. Or is that bullet virus that you sent me again? I think I should just.
Well, hold on, man, because it gets better. It gets even better. So the movie did not. I mean, they made millions and millions. That's not enough because Hasbro, the toy company that makes Transformers, they weren't satisfied by that. So they have stated that the 4th film is going to revolve around an entirely new cast of robots. So I guess we've told the story with Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and all those characters that we've invested our time in and love. So, Michael Bay has gone on record and said that this movie is going to take place off planet, which means presumably no humans, which is more of a chance for Hasbro to sell toys.
Well, yeah, that's going to give Hasbro a fantastic opportunity for that. I will say, as much as I loathe movies and I loathe the idea of another one coming out, it's a little promising, because it was, in my opinion, it was the human element that when the other three Transformers movies, they're called Transformers, and it's 95% human angst stuff going across the screen, and very little giant fighting robot, which is, I think, what a lot of people expected when they walked into the theater, was to see a story about giant fighting robots. So if this is in fact going to take place off-world and just be about them, that might work. I don't know yet. He doesn't have the best track record, but it might work.
Wow, Greg McGuire, how does it feel to be in Michael Bay's corner?
Oh God, no! No, please don't. No, you know what? Everyone, turn off the podcast right now. This isn't going the way I wanted it to. Oh God, no! I'm just saying it's not. You know, at this point in the series, which the series has just gone so wrong, you know, it couldn't hurt to do this. So we'll see. It's probably still going to be awful, but we'll see. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, like I gave the other three the benefit of the doubt, and just majorly, disappointed every time.
Well, I have a feeling that as we move closer to 2014, you're going to hear Transformers 4 featured in NerdtopiaCast's Big Fat Fail segment. So stay tuned. I'll let you know.
Oh, definitely. I look forward to it, absolutely, with anticipation.
Well, also, while I'm on the subject of Transformers 4, they released the logo for the movie, and since this is an audio show, I can't really show you. You can Google it online. It's pretty easy to find. It's just the word Transformers and the number 4 after it. That's the big logo that they unveiled. Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now. In fact, I better scooch back because I might fall off. Okay, there we go. No, that sounds really boring, and I don't know. Yeah, whatever. At this point, my apathy is palpable.
Fair enough. Speaking of sequels that don't need to be made, the 300 sequel has been titled 300: Rise of an Empire, which is actually more of a spin-off about the Greek general Themistocles, who led the Greek warriors against the Persian invaders at the same time of the Battle of Thermopylae. The release date on that is August 2nd, 2013.
I had heard they were doing a sequel / spin-off / whatever else there is to call it. That's fine. I'll go see it. I mean, I liked 300. I thought 300 is a very entertaining movie. Again, I just hope the idea behind it is solid. Again, I don't want to cast any aspersions on it this early in the game. I mean, Hollywood is the realm of sequels and reboots and remakes. It's something that I used to pull my hair out about, and now I've kind of gotten a little used to it. So, I mean, we'll keep our eyes on it and we'll see how it develops. And if it starts to go the wrong way, maybe we'll knock a few heads together, get them the things straight.
Yeah, we call it Nicky Boom Boom, man.
Yeah, Nicky Boom Boom, we'll take care of it for us, no problem.
He's like, hey, you want I should break both your legs or a leg and an arm, man?
He is very considerate when giving them the option.
Hey, motherfucker, you know where you are? This is Sparta. I don't know. That was a terrible joke. I can't believe I made that joke just now. That joke doesn't work on any level. I chastised myself for that joke, and I apologize to you, the audience, for thinking that would be funny.
You don't have to apologize that much. What are you, Michael Bay? No, calm down. It's okay.
No, if I was Michael Bay, I'd just be like, hey, listen, everyone just needs to chill the fuck out because this joke's going to work, okay? You haven't read the script, and for that matter, neither have I. But that doesn't matter because I am the Michael Bay, sent by Jesus to make movies for you, the stupid public. So just shut the fuck up and let me do what I want. Let me imagine my things and my vision. They're my jokes. So there's that.
Fantastic. Well, you will be forgiven in time, Mr. Dalton. You will be forgiven in time.
I don't need to be forgiven. I'm Michael Bay. No.
I forgot.
Well, here's some news we can be excited about, man. Joss Whedon's S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series is in the pilot stage, and I'm gonna have a fucking nerdgasm all over the place, man. I am so excited about this TV series, you have no clue. But he went on record to say that this series will feature an entirely new cast of characters. But I'm willing to bet, though, Greg, that we'll see Samuel L. Jackson make a cameo in the pilot episode just to get the series started. And that's just my speculation.
That's just good business. I am looking forward to this series immensely. I'm a big Joss Whedon fan. He's back doing television, which is what he's good at. It's an ensemble piece based off of a successful and brilliant movie, The Avengers. So that's why I am absolutely stoked for this. I cannot wait. And yes, definitely a sequel by Samuel L. Jackson. They would be very dumb to not do that. You gotta give the audience what they want. I think they can afford Sam Jackson for a minute of his time. So I'm looking forward to it too, man. I think it's gonna be great.
I am too, man. And what's really cool about this is with all of the buzz for Phase 2 of the Avengers coming in, we've got Ant-Man, and we've got Thor 2, Captain America 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, all these other awesome movies. I mean, presumably they're going to be awesome. I have faith they will be. They're going to tie into Phase 2 of the Avengers, and this is something else that can tie into the sequel of the Avengers, because not only are we going to have all these other movies that are going to be setting up backstory for Avengers 2, but this TV series, I'm willing to bet, is going to have a big part of that. And the great thing about a TV series that features S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as the main characters is you can also put in kind of like the lower tier superheroes of Marvel that don't get their time in the spotlight, that maybe you've never seen them on the screen before, and they're going to get their time, and presumably, and I think that's awesome.
No, this is a great opportunity. Again, Marvel is doing something, that's never really been done before. They are creating a huge universe, a very expansive universe, and to be able to see not every, because there's just so many characters out there, but to just be able to see so many characters being incorporated into that universe, which makes it richer and fuller. No, this is going to be fantastic, because I've liked the other Marvel movies that have come out before. I like some better than others, but I don't think any one of them is really a bad movie. So, no, what Marvel is doing is very exciting right now, and what you said is absolutely correct. This series gives an opportunity for some lesser-known heroes to maybe make their appearance. So, no, this is definitely exciting times. This is a very exciting time for comic book fans and film fans that just love seeing movies about superheroes. This is an exciting time for a lot of us.
Yeah, and I think it's going to give the more human side to the Marvel Universe, because it's always you always see it from up here. You see it from you get the Marvel superheroes are the gods of that world, and everything is always from their perspective. But I think this is going to bring it down and almost humanize the Marvel Universe. Put it to a point that we as normal average shows we can kind of relate to it and see what things are like to live in the Marvel Universe from the other side. Like, we always want to put ourselves in the shoes of, Captain America and Thor, Iron Man. But, what's it like for the people that live there that don't have superpowers? And I think that's going to be, it's going to be relatable. It's going to be more relatable to the everyman. So I'm excited about it, man. No word yet on when that starts, but please keep your eyes skyward. We'll as soon as I find out, I will let everybody else know.
Absolutely, man. I am stoked. I can't wait myself.
Yep, and speaking of expansive universes, Legend of Zelda, man, this is kind of cool if you have ever been a fan of The Legend of Zelda.
I played a Zelda game a time or two in my day. I might be a little rusty, but yeah, I know Zelda. I've tackled the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, well, that's cool, man. One of the biggest things about The Legend of Zelda is it really does have a very large, expansive universe. What they've done is they've created a series of video games that all kind of have the same premise. And some of them are sequels, some of them aren't. But the storyline has gotten kind of convoluted over the years. And fans have always kind of speculated about where one story fits in chronological order to another one. Certain games have made references to other games. Like, I was actually one of those fans that tried to piece together the storyline and actually made my own version of it, because a few years back I decided to run a Dungeons and Dragons game that was set in the world of The Legend of Zelda. And I had to do my research, man, and like I said, it is a convoluted friggin' world, and you can only take so much of it and piece it together. Now, what's cool here, if you're a fan of The Legend of Zelda and or you're a fan of comic books, this is kind of neat because what's happening right now is Dark Horse Comics has announced that they will be releasing a hardcover issue of Legend of Zelda Hyrule History in January. The comic book is going to be divided into 3 parts, which is, 1, the origin story of the Skyward Sword, which is the latest game that has been released for Wii, the complete history of Hyrule, which details the events of all the Zelda games and puts them in chronological order, and finally, Legend of Zelda artwork for the past 25 years. So that's exciting if you are a Zelda fan.
No, absolutely. I know a lot of people out there that love Zelda, and when this was announced, they went absolutely apeshit all over Facebook, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're a fan of something, but there's been sort of some confusion, like you said, about what's canon, what isn't canon, and blah blah blah. This is a fantastic opportunity. So I'm very happy for the fans out there. I might even take a peek at it myself, seeing as how I do have some experience with Zelda. This is going to be great.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. No smooth transition for this next one, so I'm just... Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I forgot. If you are looking to buy this book, it's going to be $20.99 if you go through Amazon.com. And just a quick plug there, if you do decide to get it, remember the guy that told you about it, go over to NerdtopiaCast.com, click on the Amazon.com link, and go buy it through us. And we get a little bounce back to that. So so if you're buying through Amazon, just go to our website first, and then click the link that takes you to Amazon. That puts a little bit of money in our pocket, and helps us to keep giving this content to you guys for free. So just a little something to think about.
Absolutely.
Now, like I said, no smooth transition for this one, but real quick. We, as of last week, we need to wish Spider-Man happy 50th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Spidey. That's fantastic. Go 5-0.
He looks great for 50, I think.
He does. He's in great shape. He seems like he's in good spirits. No, happy birthday, man. And many more to come.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. Spider-Man, he's been running in the comic books for 50 years now. And when you are a comic book writer, every so often you get reboots, the franchise will restart, whatever. Over time you have to do that because you run out of stories to tell. There's only so many, how many times can you write Spider-Man fighting the Green Goblin, and how many times can you write the storyline between Peter Parker and Mary Jane before you start, or putting different spins on it, before you start really reaching into the what the fuck factor here. So, SuperheroHype.com gets all the credit for posting this, but they posted the 9 weirdest moments in Spider-Man history. I'm only going to share my 5 favorite ones because it's only an hour show. But,
of course.
Yeah, but the top 5. Number 1, over the years, Spider-Man. Always been the web slinger, but for a while there, Greg, he was driving. He was driving through the streets of New York. Spider-Man had a Spider-Mobile.
What?
Yes, I'm not making this up. Johnny Storm gave it to him. Gave it to Spider-Man as a gift. So, so Spider-Man was driving, which to me, it just seems like it's almost for Spider-Man to drive a Spider-Mobile when you can zip. I mean, you live in New York City, Greg. If you could zip over traffic, would you be driving?
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. That's really stupid. That's really stupid of you, Johnny Storm, for giving him a car in New York City when you can fly over buildings using your webbing as opposed... Oh, no, I want to be stuck in traffic for 2 hours. I'm not in a hurry to fight the Rhino. No, I want to get there in time.
I gotta get down to Central Park where Rhino is fucking shit up. Oh, fuck, traffic jam. Damn it.
Oh, well, I guess I'll just, futz around on my smartphone while I wait for the traffic to clear.
I was pictured it as the situation where, somebody gives you a sweater for Christmas and you don't really like it, but you wear it even though it's fucking stupid, just to appease that person. So it's like Peter's going, "Hey, thanks, Johnny. I'll drive it everywhere."
God, I hope Johnny wasn't one of those, like, really freaky type friends who was just, like, constantly, like, hovering over and just being like the car, and so you literally did have to drive it all the time. That would be awful.
Well,
he walks to the corner store to get something. He's like, "Why aren't you taking the car?" Oh, Johnny.
I can fucking web sling, you asshole. Here. You know what? Here, I'm going to give you a moped for Christmas, Johnny Storm, and you can drive why aren't you driving the moped, Johnny Storm? Oh, you can fly? Well, you know what? I can web sling. So you drive the fucking moped, asshole. So I think eventually he did lose he lost it in some sort of battle with Mysterio in the Hudson River, and I think he was very happy. He was very happy, I'm presuming, like, "Oh, damn it, Johnny, it's the damnedest thing. I lost the car.
Yeah.
I had insurance though, so don't worry."
Yeah, I don't think he was too broken up about that. He's going to save a lot of money on gas, and he's going to be able to get places quicker. So
wouldn't he have to have that?
Peace.
Wouldn't you have to have that insured? I mean, and you couldn't give your secret identity. So what do you do when you're buying insurance for your Spider-Mobile? I wonder. Well, I guess Batman didn't have insurance. That's something else that I never fucking thought about. Like, for every car that Batman hit, he wasn't insured. Those people are fucked, man.
Oh, yeah. Again, Christopher Nolan took those movies to some dark places, and even Tim Burton to a lesser extent. So those are just some of the hard realities that we have to deal with when we consider what Batman has to be for the good of the city.
He has to be an asshole that doesn't have insurance.
If that's what the city needs at that point, then yes, absolutely.
He's not the uninsured driver that we deserve, but he's the uninsured driver that we're getting right now. We have to hunt him because he doesn't have insurance.
See, there's a lot of levels to those movies, so absolutely. Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Okay, so that's enough about the Spider-Mobile.
Indeed, yes. Moving on to glorious selection number 2.
Glorious selection number 2, Aunt May's false death in the Clone Saga, in which she, on her deathbed, told Peter Parker that she knew he was Spider-Man all along, and then she died. And it was a sweet moment, man, for Spider-Man fans. And I mean, granted, you knew that Aunt May had to go sometime. She was an old woman, it was kind of nice because I think the way she worded it, and I don't remember because it was years ago when I read it, but she said something to Peter like, "When were you going to tell me about you swinging from rooftop to rooftop?" And I think if you watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, they allude pretty heavily to the fact that Aunt May knew.
Yeah, they definitely hinted at that, so that's nice that they sort of incorporated that kind of element from the comic into that, so that does sound like a sweet moment, absolutely.
It was a sweet moment, and then it turns out she wasn't dead. She wasn't. Well. Yeah, this was during the Clone Saga. Now, I've never read the Clone Saga, but apparently it infuriates comic book fans. So much so, our comic book correspondent on the site, Charles Baystrap, has asked. He does a weekly segment called "Catching Up is Hard to Do," and he'll give you the lowdown on any comic book saga that you want, because this man has read them all, folks. And when he asked about it, I've never read the Clone Saga, and I said, "Hey, read the Clone Saga," and he said, "I would have to start drinking again." So
wow,
it's
very entertaining.
They retconned a lot of shit and they fucked a lot of things up, from my understanding. They took it back during the Clone Saga and said, nope, she wasn't dead. It was an imposter planted there by the Green Goblin, while the bad guys had the real Aunt May captive. Which to me says, if you're going to take Aunt May captive, don't you want Spider-Man to know about it? I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it?
No, I really want this little old lady to myself. I don't want him to know about it.
Norman, what were you doing with?
I don't know.
What were you doing with Aunt May, dude? I don't want to know.
Oh God, that's another saga that awaits for us in the future of comic books. That's very odd. I don't even want to begin to think where his mindset was. I know he's insane, but I'm just going to step away from that idea.
Yeah, let's move on, shall we?
Indeed, absolutely.
All right, coming in at number 3, Spider-Man's film debut.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing something about this. Refresh my memory.
Now, this was this Turkish Spider-Man, so to speak, and he wasn't even a hero. They made him into a supervillain, and not only a supervillain, but a very low-budget, low-rent, fucked-up supervillain that tortured guinea pigs. Let me elaborate. In 1973, a Turkish filmmaker called Fikret Ukak, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, made a film called Three Dev Adam, which, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly either, which translates to Three Giant Men. In the film, Captain America is sent to Istanbul with his Mexican luchador partner Santo to start the evil crime boss, Spider-Man.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, it is every bit as awful as you think. Now, I have a clip here. Unfortunately, I can't play it for technical reasons. But
right.
If you go, I went and I watched it, and it's a scene where he's torturing guinea pigs just to show, I presumably to show just how sick and twisted he is as a villain. But yeah, I didn't get it, man. Obviously, this guy just took a look at Spider-Man and was like, I like those colors. I'm going to make him into a villain. So that comes in at number 3, and that was actually Spider-Man's first film debut.
I did not know that. Don't know if I wanted to know that. But
you know it, and it can't be taken back.
Yeah, I got to live with that for the rest of my life. But I guess, you look at that costume, and it just screams guinea pig tortures.
Coming in at number 4... they call him Cuban Pete. He's the king of the rumba beat. Hey, Pete, that works. And I think you know what I'm talking about here, Greg? We're talking about the dance scene from Spider-Man 3.
Oh, God. No, don't do this to me, please.
It's
not that scene.
It's part of the list, man. I didn't make this list. This was superherohype.com. But, yeah, that was a fucked up moment in Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Which to me, Spider-Man was more about, like, when he got the symbiote suit and he was being, if in the fucking comic books, man, like, he turned into, like, Captain Suave, not Captain Emo Finger Guns.
That whole movie was an awkward moment.
The entire movie was an awkward moment. I think that sums up Spider-Man 3 pretty well.
Thank you. No, it's just... They got that whole symbiote thing completely wrong. They got everything wrong with that movie for the most part. I think the only thing they got right was Stacy's hair color, and that's about it. They got pretty much everything wrong. Oh, and the Sandman is made of sand. You got those two things going for it, and that's kind of it. Everything else was wrong, and all just made me sad.
And then finally, wrapping it up, starting in 2004, there was an arc written called Sins Past. The story arc told the untold story of the love affair between Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn, a love affair that spawned not one but 2 children, twins, a boy and a girl named Gabriel and Sarah. So apparently, Norman and Gwen had babies before her death. Now, their love affair started in Paris just before her death and lasted long enough for her to have the kids and tell Norman she planned to raise them with Peter, thus giving Norman Osborn plenty of motivation to kill her. The problem with these kids, since Norman Osborn was the father and he had altered genetic makeup, is that they became full-grown adults and that their ages were that of children. So not only did the giant retcon happen, but when Peter told Mary Jane about the secret grown-up babies, she already fucking knew because Gwen told her! What the fuck?
What the hell? That doesn't make... I don't know, I guess in some people. So
Spider-Man, happy birthday. You've had your share of awesome storylines and some not so awesome storylines. So congratulations for surviving those.
Happy birthday, Wall Crawler. You've had some awkward years, but you've had some awesome years as well, so many more good years in front of you.
Absolutely, man. Fantastic. Well, we're winding down. I got a couple more things we're going to do for you here. First of all, it's time for NerdtopiaCast's Big Fat Fail.
It's time once again for another Big Fat Fail.
Oh, fantastic. I love these.
All right. You ready? This past Saturday, so just a few days ago, production was set to begin in Toronto on RoboCop.
Kill me now.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Don't get me wrong, the film's got a lot of star power, but you're not going to win me over with with Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, and Samuel L. Jackson, Jackie Earl Haley. Sorry, I'm not buying it, folks. MGM Pictures, you're not getting my money.
No, I was just rewatching certain scenes from RoboCop the other night, and aside from the fact that I don't think you're ever going to be able to top some moments from that, I don't know. It's like you said, all that star power that's like dangling like the carrot right above the trap, and I go walking for it, and I fall into a pit of spikes. That's basically what this movie reminds me of already, and I haven't even seen it yet. So I'm very weary about this.
Yeah, so I'm predicting big fat fail for this week's NerdtopiaCast segment. So I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and see if I was right.
Oh yeah. I hope we're not right, but we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled.
All right, man. Well, we're coming down to the end of it. But Grace, you wrote in, you asked for it, just for you, sweetheart. This is it. This is going to be another Bill Shakespeare joint.
Oh yeah. Doolin and Steve. Getting ready to mix some culture with pop culture. It's gonna get sexy in here. Time for another Bill Shakespeare joint. Shakespeare!
Forsooth, mother, a rhinoceros approaches the vehicle.
He fears for his well-being, a man of such small stature.
You have certainly crossed the line, you corpulent knave. I shall dispatch you myself.
Behold, children, Papa Smurf.
Thou dost not want this. I implore you to consider your action.
Strike me down as best you can. That be your most powerful strike? Ha! Surely you are captain of the limp wrists. Why not attempt a second time? Behold all! Hath a man left the window open? Surely a cool wind breathes upon my face. If I sought to feel the kiss of a woman, I would be with thy mother. That was sufficient.
Hey, prehistoric forest. Acting!
Gotta love it.
All right, man. So that was a little piece from a comedy from our younger years. If you know what movie we were just performing, send us a shout out on the Facebook page or send us an email. And if you do that, we'll give you a shout out on the next show. So thanks for that, Greg. It was great to share the stage with you, and it was great to do a podcast with you, man. This has been fun.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It has been a lot of fun. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. Like I said, Steve's going to be out for a while. I'm going to be searching for revolving co-hosts. So, we may have you back. And in the meantime, if you enjoy me sitting here chatting with Greg, check us out on Filmtopia. I'm sorry. Check out his show you can find it on our YouTube feed. He also has his own Stitcher feed. He has his own iTunes feed. And then in addition to that, you can just come on over to NerdtopiaCast.com since we're affiliated. He's our sister podcast. You can download his shows from our site just like you can ours.
Absolutely. And again, it's been an honor for me to be on this show. I had a lot of fun this episode. I love your show. You're very fun to listen to as well, and I appreciate the opportunity to stop on by and chat with you.
Absolutely, man. It was a blast. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Once again, check out FilmtopiaCast 3000. Every Wednesday it goes up. NerdtopiaCast goes up every Monday. And then in addition to that, keep on coming back to the website, man. We appreciate you guys sending your support our way. That's it. That's going to be it for us, man, for NerdtopiaCast. I'm Doolin Dalton.
And sitting in for Stephen Wareham, I'm Greg McIver.
Thanks for nerding out with us, guys. Good night.
Be
Find more free nerdy funny at www.nerdtopiacast.com, and be sure to check us out on iTunes and Stitcher.